What's up, guys? We're back here with the Let's Play free-to-play series level episode 52? 52, I think it is. We have a request today. Cool. Someone's asking about future updates and what we think is going to happen with Archeworld. What content is there going to be in the future. So we do have a roadmap already, which is cool. They do tell us a little bit of content. We have naval content, naval PvP, and naval raids that is coming soon, so within probably the next month or two is my guess. So there's going to be a lot of ocean content, because if you notice in the map, a majority of this map is actually ocean. So all this stuff up here, this is actual ocean that you can sail in, and it is currently blocked off. You can see these little barriers on the mini map, and that is saying that you cannot go further out. But in the future, you'll be able to go like all the way over here, and there's a lot of content in the ocean that can be had. So there's a couple big raid bosses, a Leviathan specifically, the Kraken also specifically. There was ghost ships in the prior version, so pirate ships that are just dead skeleton ghost things. Very cool. There was also Abyssal Attack, which was like a Kraken who was causing havoc, and you had to go in, get packs, kill the Kraken, and yeah, retrieve the packs. Fredic Isle, which I believe is like over here, if I want to say so, or maybe in this little spot, the Arcadian Sea. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a water dungeon over here somewhere as well. So that's another thing too. Dungeons, like dungeons were supposed to be in the game, and they're supposed to provide territory control. Which it kind of sounds weird, because there was nothing like that in the prior version in Arcade, right? So territory control could mean that you own the dungeon as a guild, and then this kind of zone gives you a tax, a fee, or like this kind of zone gives you a tax, a fee if you own the dungeon in this zone. So we don't know what kind of dungeons they're going to do, but they are kind of on the roadblock. The dungeons are going to be in the game at some point. We don't know. There is a giant dungeon up here in the northern continent. Actually, there's quite a few dungeons per se up in the northern continent. So we can't even click on it because it's not there. But up here, there's one called the library, and so the library had a lot of open world. Well, so open world like PvP and there it was a dungeon that had 3 different instances, and all the servers, it was cross-server, could go in there and compete against other servers. And so you could either go to instance 1, instance 2, instance 3, and then it could hold a whole bunch of people, since it's just showing that specific map. So I think it was like maybe like a few thousand people could be in the library dungeon at a time. So that was a pretty cool thing that they might actually do in the future as well, once they have the North America and Europe regions unlocked. Have a big cross-server dungeon like the library. There was also other content that was up here. The garden, which they do reference in the lore of this game. So we will get the garden instance. There's just that's the known stuff, right? There's all kinds of unknown stuff that they could actually do. A lot of it also revolves around guilds, because they did say that this game is going to be like guild versus guild. And with the fact that there is no factions either, this opens up a lot of different possibilities. We also have like castle sieges, which are coming, and so that again is in the north. So the castle sieges also act as like a territory control. So up here in this zone, there was, I want to say it was 6 castles that were up for grabs, and so your guild could actually claim these castles in the prior version, which is called as Arcade. So you have a lot of things to look forward to. But new content. So new content, we could see a lot more like ocean underwater contents. There's already like a hidden world boss under the water. So that could be some new content that is going to be coming. They also had some like treasure chests under the water. So hidden sunken treasure chests. Fishing was an old content and definitely will be, reappearing. So there's a bunch of content that could be added to the game and like new different content. I'm hoping for a big Warzone map, like an arena that is like 10 guilds versus each other. You know, guild versus guild versus guild versus guild versus guild versus guild. Like, I think that would be a really cool content. And it doesn't have to be a 30-man arena. It could be like 5v5, v5, 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 etc. Right? So an arena like that where it's your own, like you can only join your guild mates into this arena and you can battle it out. Like, I think that would be a really cool arena battle type that they could introduce. They've tried a whole bunch of different arenas and different things. Like, that's the one thing that I always come back with this game is like they're willing to try kind of random and crazy things. There is a tower defense mini game that they did. There's also a what do you call it? Like kind of like Fortnite style mini game that they did with the water boats. So like last man standing. That was pretty cool. I definitely enjoyed that. So there's so many different ideas and content that has sort of been created already that they just need to adjust and tweak for this version of the game, and they can introduce. That's why I'm actually really surprised that the content release has been really slow, in my opinion. You know, like it's a month and a half now into the game, and we haven't really gotten any new content besides another Arc Pass. And other than that, that's it. We got one event. There's also going to be like holiday events, right? So like Halloween and Christmas, probably things like that. You know, big major holidays. And then this is the Asian server, so there's going to be Asian holidays, so like Chinese New Year's and stuff like that. All right, so let's actually do these quests here while we're just like dozing off talking. We need to change this one. But yeah, I do think that a lot of content will be coming. I think maybe their first priority was kind of like, we need to kill the bots, protect the integrity of the game, make sure everything works, and then release the content. I think that's maybe where they're at with content right now. Unfortunately, by doing that, they do, you know, anger some people that are like, hey, there's nothing to do. I'm you know, bored and tired. But I think that's also just the player base too, in a sense that like an MMORPG is supposed to be a long-term investment. It's not supposed to be, you know, a couple weeks or a month. Like, you're supposed to grind a lot in an MMORPG. And the culture of gaming has shifted quite a bit, where we want more faster paced, quick, instant gratification, like you know, games like that Fortnite, like we talked about earlier, where it's like, you know, quick, fast, easy, boom, done. You die, you jump into another game, and, you know, lobby style games like that. And the longer, slower progression games have kind of faded off. There was a semi-resurgence to this when like WoW Classic came around. A lot of people were like, we really want WoW Classic, and it was a very, very popular relaunch. But the player base did fade off fairly quickly in WoW Classic. Like, it wasn't able to hold you know, millions upon millions of people's interest anymore. Whether it's just because times has changed, or people have shorter attention spans now, which definitely could be in fact due to like social media and things like that. So like with all of the clicky Twitch things, YouTube videos and stuff like that, everything is super instant and super quick, and it's like boom, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, like all these quick videos that are grabbing your attentions, or quick you know, things. It's just like everyone has like ADD, where it's like you're so like, well, what's next? And you just keep scrolling, right? And you just scroll until you find like the next thing. And they're so used to kind of like instant gratification. They don't want to work for things anymore. They don't want things to take, you know, 5 hours or 10 hours anymore. It's like we're so used to, man, my computer didn't load up in 5 seconds. This sucks. Like, I need a new computer. Like, everything has to be instantaneous now. It's like, it's crazy. And it's just how the world and society has evolved, I think, over the last, you know, 15, 20 years, is faster, better, stronger things. And so a lot of companies and games specifically have to, you know, catch up to that and realize like, hey, what worked 20 years ago isn't going to work anymore. like the MMORPG genre is, you know, kind of in a flux where like you want to try new stuff, but it's so dang expensive to try new stuff that like no game companies really do. And if they do try new stuff, for example, like Crowfall tried to release a game that reset itself every, you know, X amount of days or X amount of weeks and so forth. And there was a backing for it. There was a decent amount of people that actually wanted to give it a shot, but you know, delays and time. So it took Crowfall like 7 years or something like that from the Kickstarter, like a long time, right? But that's not really a long time in actual development. It felt like forever. And same things we're seeing with Ashes of Creation, right? So Ashes of Creation has now been in development for like, oh god, like 7 years maybe coming on 8 years. And so it's probably the next big MMORPG, right? Ashes of Creation is a really cool game. It's supposed to have everything you could ever want, but it's still probably 2 years away from actually releasing the game and being ready for people to play. And by that point too, like technology is going to be so far advanced, and is it going to be what people want to play anymore? Is it just going to, you know, be good at that point? Like it's a crazy cycle that what you think you want, it's like, cool, let's go make it. And you go make it, and it takes, you know, 10 years to make. And it's like the game companies have to predict the future of like, okay, this is what the people want in 10 years. And they have to do it with the development team and power and resources that they have today, planning for the next like 10 years. And then they have to think further than that. They have to think, okay, so what do you guys want 10 years from now? And then what are you guys going to want 20 years from now to like make the game keep progressing in that right direction? That's why it's very, very impressive that games like WoW has stayed around for so long, right? They're here for what, like 20 years or something now, maybe 25 years. And it's like, it's very, very impressive that they have stuck around and survived so long, because the gamers and the community are always asking for new, fresher ideas, different things. And then obviously that fatigue of, oh, I've been there, done that, like I don't want to grind anymore, like what's next, what's new? So even in this game right here, so like we haven't been playing as much. We've been slowly just kind of cutting down our playtime, and that's the same thing. It's like the fatigue of playing a game gets to you after a while. You're like, okay, there's no rush, there's no end game, right? It doesn't end. The game never ends. It's an endless cycle, and you just keep going and going and going. And if you keep pushing yourself at 24/7 speeds, trying to progress as fast, as quickly, and most efficiently as possible, you're gonna burn out. And so then you get the burnout, and you get the people that are like, well, this game sucks, and then they take a break, and then they never come back. Like that's the like Achilles heel of games, where you go so try hard, and you just like no life it 24/7, and then you take a break, and then you're just like, oh, okay, and then you just never come back after a week, or never come back after 3 or 4 days. And it's because it's like, you're like, well, you reflect on your thing, you're like, well, what am I doing? What am I doing no lifing this game? Why am I doing this? Is it fun? Is it enjoyable? Is it like, this is what I want to do with my time, with my life, etc., right? Like, and so when you really reflect on it, you're like, no, like I was just addicted and crazed, and like you shouldn't be no lifing 24/7 anything. Like, and that's what it comes down to, is, and you realize, you're like, oh, that that was shit. I shouldn't be doing that. So a lot of times when people do take those breaks, they end up not coming back for that reason. And so it's way better to obviously pace yourself and have the right mindset in these games of that this is for years. Like, you can miss a couple days. You don't need to be playing 24/7. You don't need to do your dailies every single day. Like, it's okay. And the funny thing too is, right now we're seeing a lot in game, or at least I'm hearing about this a lot. I'm not actually seeing it because I'm not in game that much anymore, right? But I'm hearing from other players that Gnoma is not actually even like doing raids much, and so a lot of other guilds and all other groups are able to actually get the raid loot And then even when we are in game, we are seeing like, you know, different names pop up. We don't ever really see Ganama getting the Archeum cores anymore. It's like, so he even pushed himself to the level of fatigue where like maybe he's not logging in as much, or maybe he's not playing as much, or maybe he's doing something else rather than farming the Rift raids, for example, right? So we touched upon him the other day. He wasn't even like number 5 or number 6 or anything on the arenas. So let's see what he is in right now. He was at like number 10 yesterday when we looked at the arena rankings. All right, so okay, he's moved up. He is number 5, but this is also a very interesting point. It's like he's the strongest by far in this game, like ranking wise. We go back over here. So he's ranked 5 in the arena. So in 1v1, his arena power is like so much lower than all these other people here. So he's like 19,000 gear score roughly, and he's losing out to this guy. So we can find out how strong he is, Akira. And so these 4 people, all his guildies, are better 1v1 arena fighters than him. And let's see, I don't even see any of them in the top like 20. Ziz, huh? Okay, so let's keep looking for them. Ziz, is that Ziz right there? 15. Okay, so number 4 is actually rank 15. So he's 15,800. And number, let's see. Okay, where's Akia Hyo? Hua is number 26, so he's at 15.4, and Akira is at 27 here. So the number 1 arena player is a 15.3 player. So he's almost 4,000 gear score lower than the number 1 player in the game, and he's beating him in the arena. Like his PvP skills in 1v1 is significantly better to the level where he can just beat and dominate this 1v1 arena. Like, that goes to show you that you can buy power, but you cannot buy skill, right? The skill difference between those two, it definitely has to be really great, because the 4,000 gear score is going to give him a lot of extra power. It's going to give him a lot of like misses and a lot of invalids. Like, it's a crazy, crazy thing where people complain like, oh, we can't kill him. Well, obviously some people can kill him. You know, 15,000 is a lot. We can take a look at his gear here. Let's see. So I think it's this one. So what does he have here? So a tier 4 weapon, tier 4 flute, and then a tier 5 staff. So that is a very impressive thing to have. And then it looks like all tier 4 armors. And then all tier 4 accessories. Yeah, so tier 4 is not that expensive right now. The most expensive thing will be this tier 5 staff that he has. But if we were to add this up, so you're looking at about 250 BSLT, 250, 250, 250, 250. What is that? That's 1,000, 12, 15, 17. These are nothing. And then the 250, 250. So 3,000 BSLT in armor and accessories is my rough guess. And then weapons, a tier 5 staff would probably cost you, oh, let's see. I think it's like a 30% chance. So it's probably going to cost you, we'll say 3,000. So this character right here, if you were to buy it all right now, it would probably cost you 6,000 BSLT. So 6,000 BSLT, the BSLT is about 40 cents. You're looking at, what, $240? No, it can't be right. $2,400? 6,000 BSLT. And BSLT is 40 cents. So that means 1,000 BSLT is $400. Okay, so you're looking at $2,400 for being ranked number like 27 on the server with a 15,000 gear score. So it does cost a little bit. Obviously, some of this stuff could have been farmed in game, and it probably was. But he probably did spend a good amount of money to get up here and get into this power level ranking. That's interesting though, right? So it's about 2,500, give or take, at the current prices. And then it makes you wonder, it's like, how much did Gima spend? Is he in the 100,000s? Like, only he will know. And those that are really, really good at checking out the boroscope, to finding his transactions, finding his wallet, and figuring out how much money he's spent. I would love for someone to figure that stuff out, right? And someone who just to go snooping and figuring out how much money he has actually spent on this game for the #1 spot in the server. But anyway, we finished all of our dailies. Let's go and teleport back and get our crops. And we'll go ahead and check the auction house. So I think the biggest content though that will be coming is definitely the trade back system. When you can pack items and take them around the world in the backpack. So you carry them on your back and then you transport them somewhere else. That right there gives a lot of risk and reward, being able to transport, you know, items that you can drop. So if someone kills you in PvP, you drop the items. So then obviously the rewards will have to be quite good for anyone to risk all that stuff. So at that point, you're probably going to get a bunch of Archeum. You're probably going to get a bunch of, you know, maybe labor as well. Labor could be a nice reward that they give out. They could also give out some BSLT. But I think that would be very, very difficult to balance. Alright, do we have any crops? Am I blind? I think I'm blind. Oh, we only got seeds. Yeah, so the trade back system is pretty much the most famous one of Arcade, what Arcade is all about. So that backpack on your character, which you can drop when you die, and that will open up a lot of different gameplay aspects. I don't know if we'll ever see really peace trade packs. Like, I don't know if we'll see you take a trade back from here to over here, for example. Those were easily like botted and, you know, hacked. At least the ocean ones, you needed to have a boat and do a lot of things in there. And then if you didn't have a boat, or you didn't spawn a boat, and you're just like teleporting over or speed hacking over, right? It should be a lot easier for the game company to actually figure that out. So I think they're being overtly cautious on the content because they want to squash as many bugs as possible. And, you know, they thought they had the teleport speed hack done, and then obviously the hackers showed them, no, you don't. Like, we can still break your game. So I think that's probably the big hiccup of why we haven't seen content at a quicker pace than what we have. But the other interesting thing too is that I think player retention is really, really high. So there's a small amount of raids now being displayed. Players have obviously quit or have taken a break, right? But this is nearly, you know, coming up to 2 months. And compared to their other game that this game is based on, which is called Arcade, after like 2 months, there would be no one online. Like, they already released a brand new server in Arcade, and after less than a month, that game was pretty much dead. Like, it's terrible. The player retention in Arcade was horrible. This player retention here is actually a lot higher. At least this is my own personal opinions on these things, right? I do have the analytics from YouTube and stuff, so I can see how many people are watching videos and things like that. And so there is a drop off, but it's nothing significant. With Arcade, when that happened, the drop off was way more significant in the analytics on the videos, right? So a lot less, you know, a lot more people were not watching videos and interacting with content and so forth. Here, there is, you know, about 1,000 people a day that are watching videos. At the peak, it was at about, I think, 4,000 a day. So there's been a drop off, but it's not compared to Arcade. So Arcade would have been like 10,000 or 15,000 per day, and then it would have dropped off to like that 1,000 in like the 1 month period. Like the drop off was so huge. And so that's something that people didn't realize, is that's also like doing YouTube and seeing videos and interactions like that. You have more data than the average person, because you have the analytics of like how many people are actually clicking and watching your videos. You can see how much comments and interaction you're getting, and stuff like that. So that's actually a very, very big metric on like, hey, how is the population doing? Whether I'm playing the game or not, I can still see player population based on views from videos, right? Because if people are playing the game or people are searching or looking at content, that means they obviously have to be playing the game. If you're not playing the game, why would you watch an Archeworld video, right? Why would you care about any guides or tips or tricks about Archeworld if you're not playing the game? So video analytics is a really, really cool tool that has always helped me, see where the population is in these games. And it's something that people never realized. I didn't really ever talk about it before, but it's something that's really cool. And that's like, yeah, these are data. Like, I don't have any other special perks, right? I don't have any connections to Excel games or anything like that. Nothing. It's just I have more data because of videos and analytics and showing, the click-through rates, the watch details, and all that stuff that YouTube provides for the content. Anyway, guys, this is it. This is the Let's Play series. We will wrap it up today. Thanks for listening to the rant. If you are still here, means a lot. Make sure you hit that like button if you are still here too. Helps support the channel, helps grow the game as well. All the comments as well help the channel, and figures out what we're going to talk about next time, tomorrow, in the Let's Play series. So I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.